Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. So in today's video, we are going to continue with our series that we have started, that is regarding to the climatic regions of the world in geography. And today our topic of discussion is the China or Gulf type of climate, and also sometimes it is referred as Natal type of climate. So first of all, to give you a brief idea about this particular kind of climate, we can see that as far as the location is concerned, this climatic region is developing on the eastern margins of the continent, eastern part of the continent. In the terms of latitude, this kind of climate developed between 20 to 35 degree north and 20 to 35 degrees south of latitude. The main or distinct climatic feature of this particular region is very similar to the monsoonal climatic region. However, in this climatic region also we have the summer, which is wet, that is rainy season, and it is the winter, which is a kind of dry season. So in the last climatic region of Mediterranean zone we have discussed, it is reverse. In Mediterranean climatic zone, as we have discussed, we have the wet winter and dry summer, while here we have the dry winter and wet summer. Overall, as we have discussed right now, the climate can be categorized into three types on the basis of the location: the China type of climate in China, the Gulf type of climate in the United States of America, and Natal type of climate in South Africa. Apart from that, climatic region also exists in the South America as well as in the Australia. As far as the geographical term is concerned, the common type of climate which has developed in China, US, Natal, and other regions, the name is warm temperate eastern margin climate. So let us try to understand this warm temperate eastern margin climate. And the first point we have to pay attention to is the development of this particular climate and what is the location. So as we have discussed, this is the area in China, as we can see on the eastern coast of China, and slightly to the southwestward part of Japan, we have development of this type of climate. Then again around the Gulf of Mexico region on the Atlantic seaboard of United States of America, also we can see the development of this Gulf type of climate. And then we can see in the South Africa, in the eastern coast of South Africa, we have the Natal type of climate. And then the climate also can be found on the same latitude, but in South America in countries such as Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. Then also on the eastern side of Australia, eastern coast of Australia, and northward part of New Zealand, also we have development of this climate. Around this climate, you can see several winds blows. For example, Pampero wind is a local wind that blows in this South America. We have Berg wind that blows in South Africa. We have southerly buster wind that blows in Australia. And in US and China, these areas are affected by hurricanes and typhoon, which are nothing but a type of tropical cyclone. So first of all, if we try to understand the China type of climate, what we can see that this is nothing but a modified form of monsoon climate that we observe in India. For example, in India, we have during the summer season southwest monsoon that moves from the Arabian Sea toward Indian coastline and that causes rainfall. While in the winter season, we have the northeast monsoon rainfall or northeast monsoon winds that move from the interior of the Indian landmass toward the sea region. So that also causes rainfall in the eastern coast of India. So similar kind of wind movement, reversal of wind movement we see in the case of China as well, which we will discuss right now. So in case of India, we have southwest and northeast monsoon, but the difference here is in China type of climate that they have northwest monsoon in the winter and southeast monsoon in the summer. Not only that, even in the late summer season, these area, as we have discussed, is affected by tropical cyclones, which are locally known by the term of typhoon. So let us try to understand that what exactly happened between summer and winter in this particular area. So as we have discussed right now, that this is the zone where we have development of this China type of climate around this zone. So what happens is that during the summer season, we know that if you compare the land surface and water surface, land has this property of heating up fast, heating up rapidly, and water has property of heating up slowly. Similarly, for the cooling as well, land cools up more rapidly while water cools up more slowly. So in the summer season, what happens, since the land heats up more rapidly, here we have a high temperature in the interior part of the continent. Due to high temperature, we know that air will rise up and thus a low pressure zone is created in the land area. On the other hand, since water heats up slowly, here we have relative water warms up slowly over the water surface in the ocean will have low temperature, and this low temperature will give rise to a high pressure like condition. Thus in summer season, if it is asked that in which direction wind will blow. So it will blow from the ocean toward the land, because here we have high pressure, over the land we have low pressure. So wind always blow from high pressure to the low pressure, and these wind which is coming from the southeastern side are called as southeast monsoon winds. And since they are coming over from the ocean, they carry with themselves large volume of moisture, large amount of water vapor, which upon condensation causes precipitation, causes rainfall in this interior part of China. So this is a situation that exists during the time of summer. Now let us suppose what will happen during winter. So same phenomena will happen. As you know that winter is the season when the cooling is going on and the land surface cools up much faster, much rapidly as compared to water surface. So now the situations will be reversed. In winter season, the land mass around this Tibet plateau, in this Mongolian desert region, in the Central Asia, Siberia, these are the entire continental land masses are there. So these are cooled to a very higher degree. And due to this, here we have very low temperature. And as we know that low temperature will create a situation of high pressure. On the other hand, since water cools at relatively slower rate, here over the water surface will have higher temperature and thus will have a low pressure like condition. So during this time in the winter, the wind will start to move from inland areas of Central Asia, Tibetan Plateau, and then will move toward the sea. Now, since these winds are coming over from the continent, obviously they do not have any source of moisture. So these winds are dry wind. Obviously, since winter time it is, so it is a cold wind. So we have cold and dry wind blowing from the land toward the sea, and that is why the winter season, despite the prevalence of northwest monsoon, we can see there is no rainfall, and that is what we have discussed. That is a characteristic of China type of climate. We have the rainfall in the summer season due to the southeast monsoon, while the winter season is dry because of the northwest monsoon. So that is how the wind direction shifts in the China type of climate. The second category of climate we have to discuss about, that has developed around the Gulf of Mexico coast, along the Atlantic coast of USA. So here we have two important phenomena that is going on. First of all, in the Gulf of Mexico, around the coast of Gulf of Mexico, there is a warm ocean current that is flowing through, and this warm ocean current is called as Gulf Stream. So there is an effect of Gulf Stream. And also, if we talk about in terms of the planetary wind movement, this area comes under the influence of onshore trade winds. If you look at this region here, somewhere we have the equator, and this side we have the subtropical high pressure belt. So what happens, we have the wind that moves from the oceanic area toward the land area. That is why we're calling it onshore winds, and these are the onshore northeasterly trade winds that are moving from sea to land. So we have warm Gulf Stream and onshore easterly winds, and due to the influence of these two, we see a heavy annual rainfall somewhere in the range of 59 to 60 inches. That means that it will be around 150 centimeters. Average annual rainfall is recorded in this particular area. Not only that, in some seasons where the convection is very stronger, especially during the summertime, when the land mass is being heated rapidly, we also see development of localized thunderstorms, which causes incessant rainfall of very short duration. We also see development of tropical cyclones, which are locally known as hurricanes, because we know that the region between 10 degree north to 30 degree north and 10 degree south to 30 degree south is the area where tropical cyclones, hurricanes, and typhoons develop. And under the influence of the easterly trade winds, they also move from the sea toward land and causes a lot of damage along the coastal areas of USA, especially around Miami and Florida coast. Not only that, due to the unique kind of geography that this area of US has, as surrounded by the Appalachian and the Rocky Mountain from both sides. On the northern side, we have the Great Lakes, which is one of the largest water body on the earth. We have this Great Plain areas, which produces a conducive condition for development of one of the most destructive weather phenomena, that is called as tornadoes. So thunderstorms, hurricanes, tornadoes, heavy rainfall, these are something that should come into your mind when someone talk about the Gulf type of climate. Now, next, if we talk about is the Natal type of climate. So Natal type of climate is similar to Gulf type of climate, but since it has developed in the Natal area of South Africa, it is called as Natal type of climate. So here the monsoonal elements, as we have seen in the case of China, is completely absent. And the reason is very, very simple, because the area where this kind of climate has developed, this has developed in a very narrow part of the southern tip of Africa. And also due to this, since both of these areas, this narrow tip part of Africa is, since it is surrounded by the water from both the sides. On one side we have Atlantic Ocean, on the other side we have the Indian Ocean. Thus, due to the narrow shape and maritime influence, monsoonal elements is absent here. Due to maritime influence, the annual temperature range of this particular area will always be lower, will definitely be lower. And also due to continuous movement of the southeasterly trade wind, this area receive continuous rainfall, prolonged rainfall over a long period of time or throughout the year, we can say. If you look at the map here, we can clearly see this is our conical part of Africa, and this green region is where we have development of Natal type of climate. So as far as the as far as the planetary winds is concerned, you know that this area is affected by the southeasterly trade winds that is moving from southeast and like this. So these bring huge amount of moistures along with themselves and causes rainfall in this particular area. And also, as you can see that on both sides we have huge water body, so maritime influence is quite predominant here. Now, what about the natural vegetation of the this China type of climate? So, first of all, as we have discussed, that in almost all the regions where China type of climate has developed, we see a heavy rainfall. And due to the heavy rainfall and also the warm temperature, the region support luxurious vegetation of variety of type of different types. For example, if we classify the vegetation in two zones depending on the altitude, in the lowland regions of this particular kind of climate, you will see two major kind of trees. We have evergreen broadleaf trees as well as we have deciduous trees. Evergreen trees look evergreen because they do not require they are in the areas where we have a lot of moisture, a lot of water vapor, and thus they do not need to shade their leaves. On the other hand, deciduous trees grow in those areas where the water scarcity is present, and thus they have to shed their leaves for a few weeks so that they can conserve water and sustain themselves. On the other hand, if you go slightly higher on the elevation in the highland region, obviously due to the effect of temperature, decrease in temperature, we have development of coniferous trees which are of softwood variety and which can be also utilized for manufacturing of paper and pulp. So this is overall overview of the vegetation. Now let us look at vegetation in each of the major China type of climatic area. So as far as the northeastern part of Australia is concerned, we can see the development of eucalyptus forest in the entire stretch of Australia. Around 98% of the Australian forest in this particular vegetation zone is covered by eucalyptus tree. On the other hand, if we look at the South America, so in South America, we have three major trees that has developed here. The first one can be called as Yerba mate. Yerba mate tree is a very popular tree because the leaf of these trees are used for what you can say making of tea in the local area. So the yerba mate leaves, yerba mate trees are very popular. Second, we have quebracho trees as we can see from here, and third we have is parana pine. So yerba mate, quebracho, and parana pine, these are the major kind of vegetation, major kind of trees you'll find in South America in countries such as Paraguay, Uruguay, extending all the way up to Argentina. On the other hand, if you look at the economy of these regions, so first of all, if you look at China itself, so due to the warm temperature that is prevailing around this latitude, due to the continuous rainfall, heavy rainfall that happens during the summer month due to the southeast monsoon, the area of China is very fertile, also because alluvial soil is present here. So this region of China where this kind of climate has developed is considered as world's greatest rice growing region. It is believed that 1/3 of the global rice production happens in this particular area. Not only that, a wet paddy cultivation method is utilized by Chinese farmers in these areas, which is very time taking, and also it is very labor intensive in nature. And since China is one of the most populous country in the world today, we can say actually most populous country in the world today. So we can say that labor is not a big problem, and that is why they're able to grow rice 3 times a year through wet paddy cultivation. However, due to the poor economic shape of China, the farming is not done for the commercial purposes. Farming is largely subsistence in nature. That means farmers grow crop largely for their self-sustenance, for their self-consumption, and then some extra crop is then sold, as we see is the same cases in India as well. Apart from that, now farmers are also dependent on sericulture because we have development of this mulberry type of trees in this area due to fertile soil, and thus sericulture, farming, as well as many places fishing has also been included as a daily activity of the farmers here. If you look at in the Gulf type of climate in USA, three major types of crops are grown in this area. We have corn, cotton, and tobacco. So corn, why? Because in this area we have discussed First of all, the trade winds are coming from the land to from the sea to land, and also we have the flow of the ocean current, warm ocean current, Gulf Stream. So due to the humid air, sunny summer, and the heavy shower, corn is something that can be easily cultivated here. And the main purpose of cultivation of corn in this region is not for the consumption of the people, but rather it is used for the fattening of the pigs. And once the pigs are fed upon these cheap corns, they gain their weight, and then they are sent to the meat processing industry for selling of bacon or manufacturing of bacon. The other major crop that can grow in this particular region is the cotton, obviously, because cotton prefer long and hot growing season, and since this area 200 days are frost free days, cotton cultivation, cotton crop growth is also very bumper in nature. The third major crop is tobacco. Due to the humid atmosphere, the warm nature of the atmosphere, as well as the well drained soil, due to the continuous rainfall, also a lot of rivers are flowing through this area, tobacco is well grown here, and it is believed that 50% of global tobacco trade that occurs is the tobacco can be traced back, or its origin can be traced back to the Gulf region of USA. So corn, cotton, tobacco are the major agriculture crop grown in Gulf type of climate. If you look at in the southern hemisphere, so in the South Africa, in the Natal region, the inland, the coastal part of Natal region, we see the development of cane sugar. But as we move in the inland region, we also see the development and growth of maize and cotton. Similarly, in the South America, in the Paraguay, Uruguay, Pampero Basin, we see development of economic activities such as sheep rearing, because these are the area which are covered by the grasses, and in the upper region where the temperature is relatively mild, it is neither very hot nor very cold, it is easier to rear the ships, and that is why many people are dependent on rearing of sheep and selling the ship related products such as wool and milk. On the other hand, in Australia also, because the development of temperate grassland, development of the what we can say mid latitude grassland has happened here, animals can be fed upon these grasses, and dairy based industries have also developed here. And not only that, in terms of crop cultivation, maize and sugarcane is also cultivated due to conducive climatic conditions in eastern part of Australia. So this is all about the economy of the overall China type of climate in different regions, and that is all about this particular climate which we have to understand about. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such helpful content. Thank you very much.